This is my audience
Hello.
for Speech 1110. I have 4 adults and some children in the room. This is my journey from student to teacher. A famous quote from Socrates is, "I cannot teach anyone anything, but I can only make them think." I'm fortunate to have had many influential teachers in my life who didn't simply try to pour knowledge into my head, but rather sought to make me think. Today I would like to tell you the story of how 3 educators from high school, community college, and university not only inspired me to think, but also instilled in me a love of learning that would lead me to pursue a career in teaching myself. Most of my early classes and teachers are difficult for me to remember because they came into and out of my life quite uneventfully. It wasn't until late in my secondary education that I recall feeling challenged to question the material we were presented with. So my academic journey really began in high school with my English literature teacher who first introduced me to the idea of critical thinking. We read the usual high school English fare like Hawthorne and Steinbeck and Weissel, but rather than taking tests with questions about what happened in the stories, which was merely meant to prove we'd actually read it, instead we were asked, what was this particular event included in the story for? What did the author mean when he said something that at first glance seemed one-dimensional? What was the social impact of the story at the time it was written? And of course, most importantly, what did the story mean to you? This was the first time I had ever been asked to engage something more than just my memory in the words I was reading, and I loved it. The English teacher had taught me something that I would always carry with me, the desire to ask meaningful questions. After high school, my inquisitive mind began asking questions whose answers were increasingly more difficult to answer. And the next inspiring educator I would encounter on my path was a philosophy instructor at community college who got me thinking about a world that's much bigger than me and my own limited experiences. We studied ethics, logic, religion, and metaphysics. We discussed what it means to be and to think. We debated what it means to be good or right. We asked more important questions like who or what is God and who or what are we? And even how can we tell if a statement is rational or not? Although I came to the class searching for answers, what I found is that the best answer to any philosophical question is another question. At the end of all our searching, we find more questions than answers, but I found the process of discovering new questions still somehow satisfying. But at the end of the day, I was searching for some kind of certainty, an identity a bit less ambiguous than I was able to find in philosophy. So finally, building on these previous experiences, was a university civics professor who helped me to discover my place in the world and showed me that my voice could and should make a difference. In addition to learning about American government and constitutional law, the professor for this class took it upon himself to help us all be better Americans, not by instilling a particular ideology in us, but by teaching us about the vision and values that our country is built upon. We learned about the great minds who forged this democracy and the people who interpret those founding beliefs today. It was his goal not to tell us what to think about American culture, politics, or policies, but rather to inform us of the beliefs that supported our country's birth, and how that has changed over time, and the important obligation that we all have of being engaged and aware of just what it means to be an American. The answer to that is different for everyone, but my professor equipped me with the tools necessary to discover what it means to me, and inspired me to want to help others make similar significant self-discoveries. This type of teaching helped me to not only be a better student, but a better human, and in doing so, it created in me a desire to teach others. I can clearly see, looking back, how each step of the journey, which began with the high school English teacher and continues on to this day, would lead to each subsequent step. And I can also see how special educators came into my life at significant points on the path, showing me how to ask questions and seek answers for myself. I appreciate the teachers who taught me facts and figures, but I was inspired by the ones who taught me how to ask rational, informed, and meaningful questions. So inspired that I want to pass that ability on to others. I believe Socrates was correct that the best aim an educator can have is not to teach people what to think, but to teach them how to think. Thank you.
That was awesome.